Stephano lost quite a lot in that, in terms of lava that could have been drones, but he gained, you know, quite a lot. He killed a lot of Marines for that. Stephano now just trying to pressure, just try to do a little bit of damage. Hopefully Polt doesn't have any Marines, but unfortunately he does. So Stephano just being really irritating, just microing his lings away, trying to, you know, snipe down supply depot if possible. Stephano actually only loses one ling in that entire engagement, and he manages to break the supply depot, which is really good. It's really, really efficient use, and gets a full scout. So now Stephano knows that he's going against really, really heavy barracks play, which will probably, you know, cause him to throw down a Baneling Nest rather than going for that massling style. Could be wrong. Well, now finally picking up a second gas. Started collecting gas a minute ago, and he's going to go for link speed as soon as possible. So Polt just playing pretty standard after that kind of opening, just falling back on Marines, you know, getting that expansion out as soon as possible. Stephano now just droning up like a madman, just getting some lings out just in case. So Stephano's going to see these Marines here and probably immediately think he's coming to attack. So Stephano does in fact make 22 Zerglings and throws down a Baneling Nest. Again, this style from Stephano, you will see hundreds of different openings depending on his opponent, the map, his opponent's opening, and probably just his general feel that day of what's going on. You'll see so many openings, but Stephano always falls back into that Ling Infested mass upgrade style. So hopefully we see that. Hopefully I'm not just kind of lying to you guys right now. So yeah, Stephano should just fall back into that mass Ling Infested style. Eventually. That's a very, very key word here, eventually. Oh no, now just a little bit over making lings. I feel that if he could have this watchtower, these lings would be a lot less and they'd all be drones. Of course, he doesn't have the watchtower, so he's just making sure he's completely safe. So I'm now going for a little bit of a ling run by, but Polt is just almost psychic, but just a little bit too late in his prediction right now. Stephano going for a crazy Baneling bust here, which is really smart because Polt can't have tanks. He literally cannot have tanks right now. So Banelings are super, super effective against just Marine kind of bunker. So Stephano now just cornering some Marines that just got a little bit too ahead of themselves. Again, using this creep and his speed. So Stephano trapping Polt's units, but Polt is so good with his like little kind of micro. And again, while he's occupied there, somehow Polt is absolutely so quick. While there's this big engagement that's going on here, Polt's sniping Banelings, and he's also pulling SCVs away from these Banelings. So right now, what's Stephano thinking? Stephano's thinking, I can win. That is basically his thought pattern right now, is I can win. Why does Stephano think he can win? Well, Polt failed his 2 racks aggression. He didn't really do any damage. 2, Polt just lost his entire army of Marines here. And 3, Stephano has a lot of Banelings, and all Polt has is Marines. He has no tanks. And now if Polt doesn't have tanks, then Banelings are going to do a lot of damage. So Stephano's thinking right now is, I have Banelings, Polt doesn't have tanks, I can win. And that's exactly what we're going to see. I feel Stephano waited a little bit too long. He should have busted with these Banes and then gone with these Banes rather than waited for everything at once. I feel that would be more effective use of the Banelings now. So Stephano's timing just a little bit off. What he was trying to do is chase these SCVs into the Banelings and then take out like all of them basically, but his timing just a little bit off, which is unfortunate for Stephano because I feel that could have ended the game if he'd caught those SCVs in transition. Stephano just being a little bit indecisive with his banelings, and you can't blame him. Look at that split from Polt. He's trying to make these banelings as effective as possible, and it's just not happening, basically. So again, really, really good play from Polt there. Stephano just rallying units in. I mean, this is just a waste. Such a waste of units right now. So Polt survives fairly well, to be perfectly honest with you. He's only like 9 SCVs behind right now. I'm just making Marine Marauder and getting some medevacs out as well. Stephano, now this seems like a good idea, but it's not. Basically, Stephano has 8 lings and 4 banelings. He has a little bit of map control, but he can't defend this. If right now, if Polt decided that I'm going to drop, Stephano cannot defend this. If Polt decides that I'm going to poke, Stephano doesn't have the money for an army because he spent on this hatchery. I really, really, really don't like this hatchery from Stephano. I think that's like kind of one of the most major mistakes Stephano makes in this game, is getting that extra hatchery already. What would possibly be a much better idea is droning up, getting some army, and then going for kind of this expansion, or even this one. I mean, that's absolutely fine as well. So we'll click play, and we'll go ahead. But what we'll see from Stephano is just, I feel like he overextended himself with this, especially droning as well. Like, there's basically one thing you can do, Stephano, is you can make an army, then expand. You can drone up these 2 bases that you've got already. But Stephano decides that I'm going to try and do 3 things at once, which is build an army, drone up, and expand. And it's just not possible in this situation right now. So we see Stephano seeing this army coming out. And now Stephano is in full panic mode. He's morphing as many banelings as he can afford. He's mashing out as many lings as he can. He's repositioning his spine crawler. I mean, Polt only has this many marines, but against non-speed banelings, marines kind of, are very, very cost effective, especially in the hands of someone like Polt. So he managed to take out all these lings. He's managed to take out a few banelings, but 0 losses right now. Now, what if Stephano had droned up a little bit and made a ton more lings instead of this base? I feel Stephano could have held this like much, much easier. So we'll carry on. So Stephano gets a fairly decent surround, kills a lot of those marines with a baneling. Excuse me 1 second. Kills a lot of those marines with 1 baneling, and just generally tries to recover. So right now I feel that Stephano could have a bigger army. He could have engaged better, and now he can take his expansion. Like, a lot after he's completely nullified any sort of counter-attack, now he can take his expansion. I don't believe he had the control and the units to take this expansion that early. So Polt now kind of smelling blood and just doing these little, like, really cost-effective attacks. Stephano with a fairly large army right now, but he needs baneling speed to engage properly. Polt losing a couple of marines there, didn't need to. And again, Stephano is just divided right now. Because he took this earlier expansion, it means that Polt's army is bigger. Because obviously Stephano can't afford this expansion and units. And if Polt's army is bigger, it means he can divide it. And if he can divide it, it means Stephano has to fight with small armies on multiple fronts, which as a Zerg is just tragic. So we'll carry on and we'll see what happens. So right now Polt's just pushing through, denying creep, making those banelings even less effective. So Stephano is really, really good with these banelings. He does as best as he can, but again, saving as many banelings as possible and going for this counter attack. So Stephano being Stephano, he's nullified an attack and now he's droning up. Now most Zergs will kind of just either go for only attacking units or only drones at this point. Most Zergs will just go for pure attacking units to finish the game. Stephano going for 10 Zerglings, 7 drones and a layer, just to kind of transition him into that massling upgrade style that we've seen. Stephano doing a bit of a poke, losing a couple of Zerglings there, which is unfortunate to a tank. But now Stephano knows this guy has tanks. So what does Stephano need? Well, he gets baneling speed and he gets +2/+2. Again, you've seen the difference of the openings for Stephano. One game, Polt does nothing. He doesn't mess with him at all. Stephano gets gets his infestation pit, gets his +2/+2, has a third base, has a macro hatchery, just generally massing lings. Game 2, Stephano opens roaches against Hellions. Now he takes a little bit longer to get there, but he still gets +2/+2. He gets his infestation pit, and he gets mass Zerglings with expansions. Now this game, Polt has done some crazy early aggressive stuff, absolutely insane early aggressive stuff, followed up with little pushes every now and again. But what's Stephano doing? Well, he's falling back on what he knows. He's getting his third base, he's got a macro hatchery, he's getting +2/+2, and he has a baneling nest, which is a little bit different, but you've got to remember that the style is the same. He will be adding on infestors in just a little bit as soon as he can afford them. These banelings are just basically a safety net against a big marine marauder push, which isn't totally unexpected. So Stephano just droning up, getting some lings, getting his +2/+2, getting that baneling speed as soon as possible. So again, I like Stephano's map control. He knows Polt doesn't have a third, so he's probably just going to make units. Sees the push coming, makes 9 banelings. So Stephano being so smart there, just checking that Polt was actually dropping. And he was. So what does he do? He just leaves a little hit squad of units here. And flanks. Flank. That's exactly what you should do in this situation. Is try and catch as many of these units out. But Polt is so good with his marine micro, he just snipes all those banelings. He loses about 5 marines there, but again, even a couple of marines here really messes you up. So he drops a ton there. He's got tanks, he's got marines, he's just pushing. Stephano just trying his hardest right now to hold everything off. So Stephano again flanks, comes up here, attacks, comes down here, attacks. This is basically the best thing Stephano could possibly do, but without infestors right now, it's looking really grim with just Lingbane against a marine tank. If we back up, Stephano, if he didn't take this base, again I keep coming back to this base, I think it's the biggest mistake in this game. I feel if he didn't take this base, he could have all of his gases took, and he could probably go 2 base with a macro hatch infester, and he wins. I feel that this base was literally the biggest mistake of the entire game, because it gets him ahead in minerals, but look, his minerals right now are 800, his gas is 300. He literally cannot afford infestors right now, but I feel if he didn't take this base and just got his gases, he could have got infestors and won this game. But we'll carry on. We'll just see Polt slowly whittle Stephano down right now. From just excellent micro, sniping, hatcheries. And without infestors and just Lingbane, Stephano, you can't do much. Again, Stephano's army is massive, but it is extremely cost inefficient. against Polt's army right now, especially because he attacked